Hello, I'm Kenny Chweeny, and welcome to today's One Piece chapter review. This week, chapter 1123 was released. After a 2 week break that felt like forever, we have finally entered a new chapter, and this chapter is jam packed with content, so let's get right into it. So, this week's chapter is called The Void Fortnight, and for the chapter arc this week, it is continuing to highlight Yamato and Wano. I won't go much into detail because I find these cover arts just to be like cute little stories, like side stories that don't have really much of a significance to the overall One Piece story. But it is nice to see Yamato, Denjiro, and the Wano children all enjoying a meal and see how happy they are, I guess. Now to the chapter. So we are leaving Emmett's flashback with Joy Boy, and we are greeted with presumably Navy soldiers wondering what the status is on Egghead. It seems that everyone on the island is out cold. Like the hockey that was released by Emmett, Joy Boy's hockey, was actually kind of insane. Like Dory the Giant even mentions that this hockey is even greater than Shanks, which is kind of crazy because Shanks got his Bluetooth hockey. It really puts perspective on how strong Joy Boy really was, and we still don't know how much of a portion Joy Boy put into that hockey knot. Like we don't know if it was all his remaining hockey or just a small portion of what Joy Boy had to offer. But it just shows how like outstanding Joy Boy's power was. Not only that, I also realized that only the enemies were knocked out. So I wonder if like Emeth or Joy Boy was able to control the hockey because like all the elders got sent back and there's no way that Chopper can withstand like Conqueror's hockey while Saturn can't withstand it. So, just it's crazy how strong it was. We then see Luffy thanking Emmet for helping them fight off the Gorosei, and Luffy does his iconic grin. Always nice to see that. When the panel gets closer to Emmett's face, we can see that his eyes are not lit up, meaning that he is not powered up, even though Luffy is still in Gear 5 mode, which is the first time I believe we are seeing this, because whenever Luffy was in Gear 5 mode, Emmett's eyes were lit up. So I believe that this is the end of Emmett's story, as he has like no more purpose to fulfill. He already released the rest of Joy Boy's hockey, and he got to make it up to Joy Boy for whatever happened. We still don't know what did happen. Same thing with Zhao. He apologized to Joy Boy, but I'm sure we'll find out eventually. But yeah, it's a fitting end for Emmett, and as he gets to see essentially the predecessor of Joy Boy, which is Luffy, and he also got to fight against Joy Boy's enemies. He got to hear the drums of liberation one last time, and he was able to relive the memories that he had with Joy Boy. So overall, I think it's a good send off for Emmett. Afterwards, we see Sanji. He is walking towards Vegapunk's body, which is on the ship for some reason. Um, I'm not quite sure why it's on the ship, but anyways, maybe they're trying to like revive him or something. Um, but anyways, so Sanji is wondering what Vegapunk was really thinking when he was talking to them, and he is thinking about how outrageous his message was, even if it's true. And he's also like, he was just curious. Sanji's always thinking about something. And so with this transition, it led into the flashback to like 2 weeks earlier, which is basically we already know most of the stuff what is going on. It's just really Vegapunk's perspective of how he found out the Mother Flame was being tampered with, and basically the backstory behind Vegapunk's message. So 2 weeks prior, this is why the chapter is called Void Fortnight, because it's 2 weeks is like Fortnite. This is not the we like Fortnite, but this is like the Fortnite with a GH, the actual time Fortnite. So, anyways, 2 weeks prior, Vegapunk is looking at the data of the energy levels for the Seraphim, and he notices that they keep on increasing. and Vegapunk realized that someone amongst the Vegapunk has been tampering with the power of the Mother Flame. And they determine that there's a traitor. And I think it's funny how Shaka instantly blames Lilith because Lilith is always seeming to cause him trouble. And like Shaka and Lilith always have this like feud, constantly going back and forth with each other. So I think it's kind of funny. Uh, 1 week later, they determined that it has been York who has been tampering with the power, and they also found out that York has been communicating with the world government, telling them that Vegapunk is researching the Void Century, which is a big no-no in the One Piece world. So, but we already knew most of this from our like third-person perspective, but it's just good to know, from Vegapunk's eyes. So Vegapunk's startled. He starts thinking of a plan how to safeguard the safety or yeah, to safeguard the information and to make sure that it's not lost forever, like how it was in O'Hara. And I like how Vegapunk questions the world government, asking what exactly is the world government, because whenever he gets closer to it, the more I realize how messed up it is. And it reminds me of when like Doflamingo was doing his "What is Justice" speech at Marineford. I think it's a nice parallel. Both I don't know if Doflamingo will be considered wise, but they have a both very strong perspective on what the One Piece world is, and it's just nice to see a parallel between them. Uh, he then states that he's ready to sacrifice his life for the information, same as Clover did on O'Hara. And but there's this one thing that he mentioned that they must safeguard, and that is the cloud loft technology. And I want to go in, into a little more depth into that. The cloud loft technology, I think it can be important with a lot of different things. One thing I think of is Skypiea. Like, could this be a a hint towards maybe returning back to Skypiea? Because Vegapunk did mention that the water is rising and the world will be submerged in water. So if there's only one place to go, that will be up. And Skypiea is just full of clouds, but it could be expanded more because there's a lot of people down on the ground compared to up in the sky, at least of what we've seen. And I feel like, might be more like impactful to have clouds where people can stand on because not all the clouds people could stand on in Skypiea. And also the second thing I'm thinking about is would does this mean that the clouds in Skypiea are made from this technology? Like, it would make sense, although the clouds in Skypiea have been around much longer than Vegapunk has been alive, and that must mean that either there are actual clouds that people can stay on, or the cloud technology could be ancient technology restored that Vegapunk has restored. I don't know. It seems like there's a lot going on involving this clouds technology. I think it's cool because like Oda highlighted all this, and Oda doesn't really highlight something that is unimportant to the story. So this definitely has something to do with the story. But I'm excited to find out. Um, but yeah, if you haven't watched Skypiea, I recommend you do watch Skypiea because something's going on with clouds and sky. Skypiea has clouds and sky. So if you skipped it, you gotta start watching it. Anyways, after that, we see Vegapunk to start preparing the hiding spot for the transponder snail, which is inside Emeth, or the Iron Giant. And we also see him recording the message, nothing new. He then wipes his memory so York can't see the plans, and he writes himself a note to explain everything that's going on. And when he wakes up from wiping his memory, he reads the note, and this is just pure comedy. Honestly, it's kind of really funny just to see Vegapunk being bombarded with all this life-threatening information, and not even just life-threatening information, just crazy stuff that's happening all at once that you would never think could possibly happen all at once. Like in the panel, it just shows like it's a giant panel. It shows oh, Vegapunk, Luffy, the Emperor, is heading towards his island, and he's just like, what? And oh, Julie Bonnie, who is trying to kill you, is also heading toward this island. And oh, CP0 is heading towards this island. And by the way, a naval armada is also heading towards this island. And also, by the way, Vegapunk, Admiral Kizaru and Elder Saturn is also heading to the island. And everything is just going bang, bang, bang all at once onto Vegapunk. And he is just so confused. He is scared. He is freaking out because everything's all new to him. I think it's just hilarious. And after that, the it goes to Sanji and Frankie and Vegapunk when they're all trying to rescue him. And Vegapunk is basically saying, "Don't worry about me. Leave me here." And that's why Sanji originally asked the question beginning of the chapter. He's like, "What was he meaning? Was this his death wish?" And yes, it kind of was his death wish because Vegapunk was saying that his death will set something in motion, and it did. It set the message, and now everybody knows the truth about the one, or at least portions of the truth. And still, some of it got cut out, but we know the most what's going on in the One Piece world. And basically, he was telling Sanji one final message. And I think this is really nice. He wants the Straw Hats to find the One Piece. He wants them to be the ones who find the One Piece. I think it's kind of funny because it's like essentially the will of V instead of the will of D because Vegapunk V. Anyways, yeah, it's Vegapunk left them with his will. One final hurrah, one final message for the Straw Hats, and he wants them to find the One Piece. The flashback ends, and the final panel for this chapter it shows the Giants, of course, cheering like usual, holding up Usopp and Luffy. I think it's funny seeing Luffy drained from basically he is fighting. He literally just fought probably the strongest people, well, not the strongest, but some of the strongest people in the whole One Piece world. And he's like, "Can we please do this another time?" Because Luffy always wants to party. Luffy's a party animal. He loves partying, but he is just so wiped out, and it's truly rare to see Luffy like this. And it's also funny because he's like, "Guys, stop partying." He's like, "Can we just do this another time?" Because he wants to party. He wants to be happy and enjoy the moment with his friends. But it's also nice to see Usopp. He's super happy. His dreams are just coming true. This is like as Sanji saw the all blue, he'd be just as happy as Usopp is. And this is going to be Usopp's arc, and I am so excited for it because we'll finally get to see a spotlight on Usopp. We haven't seen one in such a long time. We'll finally get him be powered up. It would be awesome to see him like get away from his scariness and actually, become a brave warrior he's always wanted to be. And we'll finally see the God D Usopp, all them everybody's been talking about it. Elbaf is here. It's awesome. Egghead was a crazy ride. The arc was I didn't expect the arc to be going on for so long. It's been around 60 chapters, which is crazy. There is so much involved in this Egghead arc, and this is just the beginning of the final saga, which is crazy to think about. I can't wait to see whatever Oda has to create next. And, I'm excited for next chapter as well because soon we're going to be getting a new bounty on Luffy, hopefully, because it makes sense, after usually every arc, it's like kind of a couple chapters to take a breather, relax, regroup as, just as an audience to try to piece together what the heck's going on. Overall, I give this chapter like an 8 out of 10. It's a really good chapter. It's filled with, joyful panels, a deep dive into Vegapunk's message, and just overall a good time. I love this chapter. It made me laugh, but it was also an informative chapter, so I can't give it too high of a ranking because, those fighting chapters, those are the 10 out of 10s. But yeah, overall, it's a really good chapter. I liked it. Devoid Fortnight, one to remember. And if you enjoyed this review, please consider subscribing. It will be I will be releasing a new review on the next upcoming One Piece episode, episode 1116, when it releases, which is soon, real soon. But yeah, I'm Kenny Chweeny, and have a good one.